Hey guys, this is Chodaros and welcome to another tutorial. This one is on this hook-only bracelet, and it was designed by Loomania0304 on Instagram, and it is called the Secret Kiss bracelet. So this is a hook-only design. I have the link of Loomania0304 down below. Please check her account out on Instagram and view the original design that she has made. So again, we do the 2 single chains, and then we add a crochet stitch on both sides of those single chains, and then we're going to use the Tryst stitch from Suzann H-B. Crazy Just Might Work on Instagram. Her bracelet, the Tryst, is the stitch that we will use to put the 2 bracelets together, and then we will do another crochet stitch in the middle. Let's get started. You will need your hook, and you will need I recommend a couple C-clips, because you might if you need to stop your bracelet or find yourself with a band, it's just good to have on hand. Also, you will need to have 16 bands beaded before we begin if you're using Bling. If not, then you're ready to go. Okay, so we are going to start with your border color, or I'm sorry, your single chain. We're making the 2 single chains first. So again, mine in this bracelet wore the glitter pink. So my single chains are going to be in the LE frost gold or yellow. I'm sorry, should have looked that one up too. So I already have my beads, and we're going to start out with the cap band, and then let's chain 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to take a beaded band. So you want to stick the one end in, and then before I attach, I like to stick that band over to the right of the bead, and then take that side in and close it up. So the goal is to make sure that your bling is in the middle. And I'm sorry, any type of bead from 8mm in size down will work just fine. I believe these are 6mm faceted, glass faceted beads, which are in the description below. Alright, so we chain 4. Actually, I think on my other one I chained 3, and then the 4th one was a bead, so that's what I'm going to do this time, just to be safe. So you put one side over the bead, and then reattach. So you always want to have your bead in the middle of your chain. So chain 3, and then add a bead. If you aren't using beads, then just keep on trucking. And you want to make your bracelets obviously the same size as your, to fit your wrists, so that's how you'll determine how long you need to make it. Again, we do 3, and you obviously want to make sure that your bead is in the middle of your band as well when you place it on. Okay, so we chain 3, it's a thin one, Add a bling band. So we are adding 8 beads to each single chain that we do. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we just have a few more to go, and then after we place our last beaded band, we'll chain up 4 more. Alright, this will be our last beaded band. Unless, of course, you need yours to be bigger because of your wrist size. In that case, you have a couple options, but quickly I'll tell you, just chain 4 right here and then we'll stop. If you need your bracelet to be longer, you could either keep the count of 8 beads and then just add more to the beginning and the end and then make that even. So you would need to know how many you need before you started your chain, or add a couple more beads. So let's see what we got here. Okay, this one is just a tad big, but knowing from this one, it kind of possibly shrunk up from me doing the crochet, you can't even say it today, the crochet stitches, but you can see it fits my wrist perfectly. Alright, so you guys go ahead and get your second chain ready, and once you are completed with that, we will meet back here to start the next step of the bracelet. Okay, so this is what you should have so far. Just 2 single chains with a bead. We chained 4, and then we placed a bead, and then we chained 3 in between each bead, and then the top we chained 4, and you can either close it up with a C-clip or Slipknot. This first stitch here, we're not going to go in the cap band. For the first stitch, when we have it on its side like that, you're going to grab both bands. You see you have the top and bottom. You're in the middle of that single chain, and you're just going to create a slip knot. Like that. Now that we have that slip knot created, it is highly suggested, it's very, very important that you don't let your bracelet twist, because you have to grab the same exact band every time. So I know I was showing you in the front before, but it's more comfortable for me to do it like this on the side. So we're just going to go in to this next chain and grab this back one back there, okay? Because remember, this is the front of our bracelet. It's facing us, and we don't want any of those bands to be touched. We want the back ones to be touched. So then you take another band, pull it through your single chain, reattach, and then the 2 bands on the left go over to create a slip knot. Like that. So when you're done with your stitch, you'll always have 1 band left on your hook to move forward. Okay, so if you have your bracelet to the side, you're going to go to that back band and do the same thing. Pull it through, reattach. Take the back two, oops, take the back two and slide them over. So that, if you did not know, excuse me, is the crochet stitch. And if you'd like to learn more about the crochet stitch, you can go on to Easylicious YouTube channel, and she does a really fabulous tutorial on crocheting techniques with rubber bands. Loom Gurami, I believe, is what it's called. And that's where I went after I started doing a couple of bracelet tutorials that were using the crochet stitches, and it's really cool. So okay, it's super simple as long as you're grabbing the right bands. I had a terrible time this time with doing this stitch. Mine were ending up backwards and not matching the other sides, and it was, I don't know what happened. So we can go a little bit faster. I tell you, with the other bracelet, I used the silks and the sweets. I must have spent like an hour untwisting bands. So that's another thing. Maybe be cautious on if you're the type that likes to have every band facing the right way, which I have become. Like, you can see that this needs fixed a ton because I don't want all my bands twisted. I must have spent an hour on that bracelet just untwisting bands. So this time I'm adding more LE bands because of the tutorial. I don't want to have to do that. So again, you can stop and you can kind of look at your progress. It's going to bunch up, which is normal until we get the other side of our border on. But this is what you should have. And the side that's facing you as you're looming it is the back side. So when you flip it over, this is the front. So you have all of these little loops all the way down the stitches, and that's how you can tell that it is the front of the bracelet. But we're looming with creating the back facing us. So again, we'll go back in. I've never done leopard print yet, so I'd be quite curious to see if it actually comes out looking like leopard print. Notice I keep looking to see if it's to the side, because the first time you mess it up, and after you did the whole thing, you'll keep checking. Plus, I'm left-handed, and when you're getting instruction on how to create the bracelet, and the loomer is right-handed, just like it's the same as when we do the tutorials. It can be confusing because you're the opposite hand, so you just have to think. You have to do everything backwards. As far as, you might even have to start your bracelet on the other side, I'm not sure. Alright, so if you can see, I just stitched our last chain on this side of the bracelet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this single band inside this C-clip. When we do this stitch, we're not going to be grabbing that back band, we're going to be grabbing the front one. So we want to grab the band right where the one that is right next to the border we just stitched. Okay, so I'm going to go into both of these, oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to go into both of these bands here, so we're in the middle of that chain. And so with this, to create the same look as that bracelet there, I did white, white, black, white, white, black. That was my pattern, so I'm going to repeat that. So the first band we put in, we take through both loops and create a slip knot. Okay, now this next one we go in, we grab the front loop next to the border we just did. Okay, put that on your hook, and then another of that same color. And then you want to slip knot that. Wait a minute. What did I do? You should have two that are going over your bracelet. This thing's wanting to curl. There we go. So you bring those two over. So I just did two whites, and now I want to do a black. Okay, now we go back into our white. And oops, grab your band, your second white, and then black. So again, this is only if you want to achieve the look of the bracelet that I showed you earlier. Alright, so I did one white, another white, now it's black. And if you think you might forget, every time you go to start that stitch again, you can just lay out like that, and that way you'll remember. Oopsie. Alright, So this is what you should have. It does kind of resemble, to me, it looks like a cheetah stitch or leopard. Oh gosh. I didn't realize that I could have gotten that wrong. So I'm going to finish this one up with you with these last stitches we have left. You see, this is the part that I messed up, so I'm trying to make this side correct. But for your next bracelet, you do the exact same. Everything is exactly the same. 2 of the exact same bracelets, so we can put them together. That's what we need to do. Gosh. I think we're going to be successful if you are doing a print like that. I think it's going to actually come out. Okay, so we don't want to do the cap band. So this side is where we started. We started on this side of the border going from the cap band forward. And on this side, we're ending at the cap band. Okay? In order for your bracelet to come out where both sides are symmetric, we don't put any bands in that cap band. Okay, so I have one more, which the one that we have left should have 2 bands wrapped around because we went through and grabbed both of the bands. So let's go ahead and do that again on the other side. Stick your hook in the middle around both of those bands. Okay, so this is kind of why I ask if you can to grab multiple C-clips, because now we need to C-clip this side of the bracelet. If by any means you have a better way of creating this, do it. I know there's a lot of hookers out there. Hookers are hook only to bracelets. Okay, so let's see if Miss Christie here did it correctly. I think my okay, I was a little bit confused there. Okay, so let's go up to the top where we started this side, okay? And first things first, you want to make sure that your bracelet is actually both the sides are exactly the same. So you want the double loops on the same side. Okay, so I have double loops, double loops, double loops. They're the same. So as long as that's good. Okay, so I just got a bit confused because it wasn't, the beads were different. So the beads might be in the back. So you'd have to push them through the band. And if you see, it's not really centered. So you want to take it and move that, slide that bead down on that band to make it centered. Okay? So as I'm going to go down, I'm pulling all of these double loops, this Slipknot, and loosening them. Okay, so once I get to this one, I know it's hidden back there, so I've got to slide those bands and make room for that bead to come through. Like that. And then you want to make sure that your bead is in the middle of the band in order for it to look even on your bracelet. Okay, so I'm going to go down and I'm still pulling, and we find another one and we push it through, even it out. Now I'm showing you this excuse me, because we're going to part and do the second one by ourselves, so I just want to make sure that you guys don't get freaked out once you see like you think you did it backwards because your bead's hidden. You did it right. We just have to pull them out. See that one? I wonder if it's what you should have. So far, if you're doing these colors or the color scheme, one side of your single chain border is one color, one side is another, but most importantly, you just made a border around your single chain. So now we're going to take our second chain and do the exact same thing as we just did. And then once you're complete, you come back and we will move on to step 3. Okay, so this is what you should have. Obviously not the same colors, but at least the same stitch. So we have 2 of the exact same bracelet, which is just a single chain with beads running up the center and the crochet stitch done on both sides of the chain. Okay, so now we want to put these 2 bracelets together. So this is the time that we are going to introduce the Trice Technique, that bracelet by Suzann H-B, which is very simple. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to make a cat band, put our band through it, slide a band through, and then we're just going to grab on the inside here, we have a chain. So this is the top of that chain and this is the bottom of that chain. So when we go to loom up this center to combine the bracelets, we want to grab the bottom of the chain. Whatever link that we're on, it's always going to be the one that is facing your desk. So let's come down here. I'm trying to see what I have down here. I think I just put the cat band, but the only loose band we have down on this end is the one that we finished up on the inside. Okay, and then the only loose one we have on this end is our border. So I'm gonna take my loose band out. Kind of thinking that, yeah, I didn't think I needed that one. Alright, so I grabbed one of the cat band, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab an outside band. So that way all of ours should be even. So I'm trying to grab like a band from all sides. And then we're going to put a band through. So for this part of the bracelet, I'm just going to use one color, and it's going to be the same color that I used to do that inside with the black. So this is the 600 pack Persian white. Alright, so we just have a plain band down in here, and that just kind of gets us started as far as which bands we need to hold on to. But if you haven't done the Tryst bracelet, we take our 2 bands that we just put in down here, we take them out of our hook. Okay, we want to come up here into our very first link. And so I'm going to take this black one because I know that's the first band that I placed on this bracelet. So whichever is your first link of your chain, you want to stick your hook through the bottom band. Remember, it's got to be the bottom. And then you want to put these 2 bands back on your hook so they're in the middle. And then you want to go over to the second chain and grab the first link bottom band as we did on the other one. And then we want to put a band through all of those loops that are on our hook. Okay, so we're basically just taking a band from the first chain and then putting our center bands off of our hook, putting those back on, and then grabbing a band from our second chain. But you just got to make sure that you're grabbing the same side link, and if you mismatched your colors like I did, you're going to have different color links. Like I can't find mine by gold and gold or black and black. Alright, so we go into our next one, into the bottom band of that link, and then we put these 2 bands back on our hook, and then we go in and grab that one. So I'm not going to go into any more detail because I actually forgot. I did the Trice tutorial for Suzann, so you can always go back and visit her bracelet in the tutorial and get a better understanding if you should happen to be lost. Okay, so we go to our next one and we grab the bottom of that link, put these bands back on our hook, and then the next link in line we grab the bottom band and then pull a band through. So basically all this step is doing is connecting these 2 bracelets together. So again, okay, so I'm going to do a couple more with you, and then I think you guys will be okay. So I'm going inside this bottom band, putting these 2 loops back up on the hook, and then grabbing the bottom band of the next link on the right chain. But in this step, the most important thing that you need to watch, if you put bling, the most important is when you're adding this middle stitch that your bling matches up side to side. That's most important. That's the reason we didn't loom our cap band. So we started our bracelet evenly, and that's really what the big deal is as far as what you're matching up. These bands are very sticky, like I can't even move the hook through them. So I'll do 2 more with you and then we'll go and do our own and meet back. Wow, these don't even want to come off the hook. It's really not that hard to put the bands on, just these ones don't slide very well on the hook. And I don't want them getting all twisted. Alright, let me do one more, and then I'm gonna skedaddle. Remember, you're always grabbing that bottom band. Same on both sides of the, from both chains. If it's not the same one from the previous to the next, then your bracelet will be uneven. And there you go. So yours should look similar to this. And you're just going to continue this all the way up to the end of your bracelet. And then you can either wait until, you can wait for me and we can close it up together, or it's just basically sticking your finished bands into one of your C-clips. So go ahead and finish yours and we'll meet back here for the next step. Alright, so this is what you should have so far. It looks a lot different than this one here. I just spent all this time, it doesn't seem like all this time to you, but anyway, untwisting these 600 pack pearl white bands. I'm not too happy with the way that they loomed or are in this bracelet. As you can see, it's holy, so you can tell a big difference between this one here that I used the 600 pack thin bands, and then this one is all filled in pretty much, but I used all sweets in the center, so that's definitely going to make a big deal. Alright, so let's get this finished. We have one last step to do and then we'll be done. So if you can see all the way down the middle of your bracelet, you have these large teardrops. We are going to go in and take and loop a band through each one of the bottom of those teardrops. And we're just going to do a basic crochet stitch, the same stitch that we've been doing. So you're going to go to the bottom of your bracelet and put your hook through the first loop that you have there, okay? And then take a band and pull that band through and place it back on your hook, and then do a slip knot. So if you're really going for a certain color of anything, we're going to be looping these forward, so whatever color you put here is going to be shown up here further. Okay, so like I put my black one here because it'll kind of show in the middle of these two. So then we want to go into the next one, and you want to make sure that these side bands are to the side, you know, and you're going in between to grab that. There's two bands in that loop that we're grabbing, so I'm going to go back to the pearl white, which I'm not too happy with, but and same as we've been doing, we want to put that back on our hook and then loop over the first two bands like that. Okay, so we're just going to be moving forward and going into the next one, and then grabbing your band and pulling it through, and then recapture, and then slide over the remainder two loops like that. And that's it. We're going to do that all the way up the center of the bracelet. The next one, oops, oops, Alright, so this next one here, I'm going to place a black one because I'm in the middle of the two side black ones. So when I loop it forward, it'll put that color up. And then I'm going to use my other color, and then when I use this pearl white, it'll be like a camouflage. You'll be able to really tell it's there. Okay, so next one. And then one other thing is when you pull the band through, make sure before you recapture it that it's not twisted. Yeah, I'm like super not happy with these bands today. Just being honest, it's not negativity, just my honest opinion on them, that's it. This one's supposed to be here. See, I'm more worried about them being twisted than I am to get the design correct, so. Alright. Alright, two more. Excuse me. My apologies. I am getting a cold. Alrighty, how exciting. This is our, well, I guess it could be our last one. There's a loop up there, but let's see. Oh, goodness. Sure, why not? Okay, so we got a C-clip, or I have a C-clip here. I'm not sure if we, nope, I didn't loom that. Okay, so then we're just going to attach. You should have a C-clip down here. Okay, so I'm going to grab one of these red bands here, and I'm going to put that on the C-clip as well. What I'm trying to achieve is making it where the C-clip is in the middle. I think I did it. To play around with that. Alright, so this is our finished bracelet as far as the looping the bands. It is a really neat design. I do like it. I hope you do as well. And here is my first rendition. So there's many color possibilities, different style bands and whatnot that you can make with it. So again, I want to thank you for joining me and making the Secret Kiss bracelet, and it's designed by Loomania0304. So please make sure you check her out on Instagram and give her a follow, and make sure that you hashtag your renditions to us, because I'm so super excited to see what you guys come up with. So I hope you had fun making this, and I have a ton more tutorials coming, so stay tuned. So see you next time. Bye bye.